Well, my first book, which was published while I was in law school, had virtually no promotion. And I was lucky with reviews. So somebody, Christopher Lehmanhaupt, who was the main reviewer at the New York Times in those days, somehow picked the book out of the stack of stuff that arrived because he, like many people, had once thought about going to law school. And that review launched the book. And that does go to emphasize, I think, a cleavage that still exists, which is that physical books have a chance of getting reviewed, whereas there's, at least in terms of mainline publications, not a lot of ways to break through with a self-published book. So it's a hard road, and for the self-published people have got to use the net and use it in a way, frankly, that I'm not sophisticated enough to describe. Yes, I've had writer's block, although the answer is write. And if you can't write about what you want to write about, then write about something else, just so you keep the gears greased. Are there subjects that I find unapproachable? I probably would write more about stuff that concerns family life if I didn't think there'd be consequences in my family. So, I granted my parents the respect while they were alive of not saying too much directly about my relationship with them. There's a certain amount of discretion I think all writers practice. It seems to be 3 years between novels, and I can't quite explain the gestational process, except to say that when you finish a book, I at least am kind of played out imaginatively. And but I usually have something in mind for the next project, and it just sort of gathers in my head over a number of months. Sometimes I start doing research. I am right now reading about gypsies, and that will figure in my next novel. I'm writing something else that I've been thinking about for a long time, a young adult novel. So usually for me, there is something that I've been thinking about a long time that actually comes into my head. In the case of Identical, it's Identical Twins. That's been a long time fascination. And because you have to have something that resonates with you as a writer in order to spend 3 years working on it. Well, when I was 10 or 11 years old, I read The Count of Monte Cristo. And it was one of those things. I was supposedly homesick from school. Not sure I was really sick, but certainly well enough to read. And I just laid there for a couple of days reading The Count of Monte Cristo. And, my mom had the ambition to be a novelist, but somehow The Count of Monte Cristo, by the time I had finished, it planted the idea in me that if it was that exciting to read a book, it had to be even more exciting to write one and to live with the adventure and feel it come to birth inside of you. And my conviction that I had to be a novelist really was born at that point.